Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to episode 13 of Correspondent Week. And I'm delighted to be joined by our Sheffield United correspondent. They're back in the Premier League, them Blades. It's Tommo Thompson. How are you, Tommo?
Good, pal. Glad to be back.
We're glad to have you back, mate. I need revenge for my trip up there in the FA Cup with Fred.
Oh, yeah.
And then the fixture computer came out and I realised I had to wait till game week 38. Although I have, my game week 38 away days have been quite good in recent years. So I look forward to my trip to Sheffield in May. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and then, obviously. And there's a lot that's happened in the last 48 hours or so for the Blades. Your best player's gone, mate. Ilman Ndiaye. And I mean, that's unquestionable, isn't it? That your best player's left.
Oh, yeah. By far, our best player. And
How you
I
feeling
said
about
to
it?
you last time, um, upset, disappointed. Feel like I've been hitting the punch in the gut. It's just tough to take. It's been a bit of a meltdown for the Blades fans on Twitter and most of social media since it's calmed down. But like I said to you last time I was on the pod in a couple months back, he's the best player I've ever seen for my club that's left. So I, it's just tough, but it's his boyhood club. 1 year left on his deal. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, you'd said to us when we recorded together when you got promoted, you said, look, he might leave in the summer because of the contract situation. And actually, when you see the unveiling video that Marseille did, you can definitely understand why he's gone back there. Like, it's deep rooted that it is his football club, essentially. So I can understand why I want to go there, but it's probably even more upsetting because it looked like it was going to happen and it looked like it was going to stay. Like on Saturday, he's playing and scoring at Derby in a friendly, and then Sunday, that's it. He's going.
So it's been leaked that there was actually a video made of him getting handed a number 10 shirt and narrated by Billy Sharp, and that he was signing over in Portugal a week back. So it was that close to signing a new deal, and then obviously we had a big sell-on clause whether we got relegated or stayed up. So, but what are you gonna do?
So
He
that
got my
that
team back.
that moving of the 10 shirt to give him the 10 shirt, was that going to be part of signing a new contract as well?
Yeah, so they made the video
Oh
in
my god.
Portugal, and Billy Sharp narrated it, him handing over the 10 shirt to Ndiaye. That's the rumor on the street.
I'd heard about the video. I hadn't heard that it incorporated him actually signing a new contract as well.
Yeah,
So he obviously thought that because it was like Marseille's done, it had been given the here we go, and then it went cold and quiet, and he started playing in the games, and it was like, yeah, he's staying.
yeah,
That's a sickener. Then I was going to say it could have been worse. He could have recorded the video, you could have released it, and then he could have still left. But at least you'd have got a lot more money for him because he'd have signed
yeah.
the new
Exactly.
contract. What did he bring you that you obviously will now miss for those who are unfamiliar with him?
So the best way to describe it, where I was going to go this year if he was still here when we record this podcast, is he's our Zaha. That's how important he is for us.
I get that.
I and I kind of felt like we were good enough defensively, which we'll get into, where he is enough by himself because he's that talented. He's going to create goals and score goals that we needed to scrape 1-0s, 2-1s, and whatever we needed to get up. Like he's work rate, his dribbling skills. I mean, you saw when he came on against you a few months back when he scored off the bench, and he can make something happen out of nothing. He was a fantastic player. I'm excited to see what happens with him in Marseille in the future, but as most Blades fans, I don't understand why he won't want to play in the Prem for 1 year. Then go. I know it's his borrowed club, but I think he could have gone top four, maybe even bigger clubs in Europe. Like I hold him that high.
You know what the fee was that you got?
So that's the other thing that's kind of shown up. We've been reporting anywhere from 13 to 20. There's talk that there's a 20% sell-on clause. There's also talk that there's a buyback option that we can match. If it gets sold, we can match that bid. So there's all sorts of rumors, James. We don't know.
So
It's
when he's going to
very
Liverpool in 2
unclear.
years for 75 million, you're going to batch it.
Probably not, but we'll take the 15 mil run. So but yeah, so We don't know still, and that's kind of a lot of the frustration with all the Blades fans right now.
I think part of the problem, which leads into the next bit of the conversation, is you can't replace him without money.
Absolutely not.
No. And were you going to go and spend this summer anyway?
No, we had no money. Now we've got a little bit of money, so it might strengthen the squad with a couple of extra players, but we're not going to replace them. And the best way to explain it was we had Morgan Gibbs-White the season before on loan, and he was one of the best players I've ever seen for us. And then Ndiaye last year was better than Gibbs-White. And Gibbs-White went for what, 40 million-ish? So that's what you're looking at to replace Ndiaye.
Are you going to attempt to replace him?
We're going to attempt. I think we're going to try and attempt it with 2 or 3 players, not 1 player.
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly 15, 20 million. You'd have to take a real punt on someone to be able to replicate what he was doing for you, I think, which obviously most outsiders are looking at now going, you're in trouble. And you saying that you probably weren't going to spend a lot this summer only adds weight to that. So the backstory is you were potentially on, there was rumours of admin even before administration, I should say, before you got promoted. There was the proposed takeover with Dozie and Bosie, which is now off. Prince Abdullah reportedly wants to sell the football club, but nobody's come forward as yet new. So he doesn't want the club anymore. He's not going to put any more of his money in. The financial situation was pretty tight anyway. And your best player's gone, and he's not gone for the amount of money that really his value would be if he had longer on his contract, essentially. Have I got that right so far?
Spot on.
So can you understand why most neutrals think you'll go back straight away?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's looking pretty odds on it right now, I would say. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's similar to financial restrictions. Obviously, on Luton's probably even worse, essentially, in terms of what their capabilities are. But it's the whole vibe. When you came up a few years ago, once me and Suj looked into your football club and spoke to you and stuff, we were so bullish to say they're going to surprise. We think they'll stay up, and I find it difficult to make that case this time with as it stands now.
Yeah. If we had the same team we finished the season with Ndiaye, McAtee, and Doyle from Man City in that team, I think we stay up.
And that's it. It's not just Ndiaye at the moment, is it?
No, it's McAtee and Doyle were a huge part second half of the season to us. And I look at Luton, they're stronger than they will finish the season. We're so much worse right now where we're at. It's kind of scary. But on the positive side, it's 1st of August, not 30th of August. So we've got some time.
No, and it's more positive for the football club that you came up than didn't, which it Absolutely. Could have been like missed the opportunity. And we've seen clubs in the past who've come through and then stayed up and then kept doing well and progressing. So the financial that will come into the club will help massively. What you got to be careful now, I think, is not the panic and go over the top and put yourself in a bad situation, because if you go down again, which is the worst case scenario of this season, you'll be one of the favourites to come back again.
Yeah.
And if you do, that's probably where you need to be. And it's not to say that you can't stay up. You can. You surprised people before. And there's a lot of that squad left who've got the experience of doing it for you before. Where does the club now, with what they've got, where does it need to strengthen in the squad the most?
And I roll creative midfield, forward line, and then centre midfield. That's the 2 biggest pieces we need.
So attacking players, essentially.
Creative players, and we also a defensive midfielder.
Okay, I'd like to go through the squad if I can. I think that'd be an interesting thing to do. When we last spoke, you told me you had to get a new goalkeeper. Wes Fodringham is not good enough.
Yeah,
but that's not a priority position, though.
Don't have the money. It's not priority enough over the midfield and the attack to spend the money. You know, I think Wes is a very good championship goalkeeper. We call him League One Wes because
I like that.
That's his nickname in the championship.
Serge, write that down. We're going to nick that League One Wes every time he makes a mistake.
So everyone said that for in the championship, saying Championship, but he's been good in the Championship. I think he's a good Championship keeper, top 6 Championship goalkeeper, but I'm not sure he's good enough for the Premiership. And compared to looking at when we had Henderson, to him, I think it's pretty dramatic drop off.
Yeah, that doesn't help. It's a psychological. We discussed that. Like your 2 previous years in the Premier League, you had Henderson, who did great for you, and Aaron Ramsdale obviously went off to Arsenal. So he's not of the caliber. But how old is he?
No. I think he's in his early 30s, 31, 32.
So,
you know,
it's not to say he's particularly going to be bad, mate.
No,
but
I don't think
know
he's
him much better
bad.
than the rest of us do.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be bad. He's a good shot stopper. He's not great with his feet. You know, his kicking needs improving. But he likes a red card, which is also scary. He's had a couple last season. So, and then we got Adam Davis behind, who people might know I think he's the 3rd choice Wales goalkeeper. He's scary at times. We've had him a couple of times, and
Tommo, I saw your tweets about him when he was playing a bit in I think the springtime.
Yeah.
You're not convinced. Would he be the number 2 then?
Yeah, he's the number 2. So, you know, I think we need to get somebody in just to even be a solid, experienced number 2. You know, we got linked with Tom Heaton, something like that. I could see that, something like that kind of working the short term. You know, maybe they wait till the end of the window and free agency and who's left over. Maybe they sign someone in a short term deal. But I think Wes is definitely going to be locked in number 1 for now, unless something changes. And maybe they send down money else to buy 3 or 4 players instead and build long term for the champion, for next season, and hope for the best for this season.
If you just while I'm thinking about it, if you could take one player from Manchester City on loan, bearing in mind that's where Doyle and McAtee were from, who would you take?
McAtee, we are even thinking about it. And I've had this on Twitter about it.
What if I said Zach Steffen?
No.
Okay, fine. You would have seen him at Middlesbrough last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, I didn't think he was great at Middlesbrough.
But I'm just thinking in terms of the market, if you were to add, you might be looking for something like that, a decent goalkeeper who's potentially available on a loan, who I guess it'd be fair choice at the moment at City, for example. Do you see that re-happening with McAtee or Doyle?
I do. We have a very good relationship with City. I think if McAtee's not in Pep's squad, which we're not too sure yet, I presume if they bring a couple in, he's not going to be, and he wants another year on loan. I can't see a better spot than us. He's going to play week in, week out. You know, he's going to play, he already knows the squad from last season. We did a great job bringing him up. Because when he first played for us, when he played Luton, he looked like a schoolboy compared to everybody else. And he started rough and came on strong second half. So I really have a strong feeling we're going to get either him, Palmer, Doyle, one of the 3 on loan.
Is Palmer 4.5 as well? I feel like he's not. Is he 5, Cole Palmer?
I haven't looked. I know
I'm going to check now. I know McAtee and Doyle were 4.5. McAtee would potentially be quite interesting if he went back to you, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because I think he could fill some of that Ndiaye role and play even maybe further forward. He kind of played left side and attacking midfield for us last season, left of the 3. I have a feeling we might pivot and play a number 9 like McBurney and then 2 10s off him now, potentially. So they're going 2 up front. Maybe we go that way and maybe play McAtee right behind McBurney. If he comes. But yeah, I think we're definitely holding out our 2 loans, and specifically our Man City loan to get McAtee. I think he's got top of our list.
You'd start with him, wouldn't you, McAtee, if you got him back at 4.5?
Oh yeah. Got to figure out what my second person is now.
Well, you're going to have a bench of Sheffield United players, aren't you? Because you're also going to have George Baldock, aren't you?
Is it my team not left?
How confident are you? Because I can't help, Tommo, that when I look back through games last year, and I realise there's a lot more sort of Saturday stuff, but you do look through, and every now and again, Jayden Bogle plays. A lot of people were saying that Jayden Bogle could play. We think Baldock's first choice, but it feels like on the outside there might be enough here not to make this feel secure. What's your comments on that? I know you think Baldock will start game week 1, but how likely is rotation as we go through the season?
So starting last season, Bogle was probably first because there was attacking threat in the Championship and we were going to be more front foot. But he had a very poor season for us. Probably the most disappointing player in our squad, ability-wise. And he really struggled. And Baldock was out injured for a portion of the middle of the season. And as soon as back into that team, that's when we kicked on, around when Borough was right close to us. Baldock was the player that drove us on and got stuck in and put us forward and really set the precedence for the team, moving forward, and never looked back. But get a sniff after that, other than late substitutions, for attacking threat. Baldock was locked to that team. And also, Bogle has not played one game preseason, still injured. So,
okay. So it's almost definitely safe for the start.
Correct.
Which I think is important because actually some people may well want to use him with the opening day fixture at home to Crystal Palace particularly, and perhaps in sort of games against Nottingham Forest and Everton in 2 and 4 as well. Not so much against Man City maybe in game week 3, but you could get some use out of him that's interesting at the start. So guess maybe that's as long as people were worried about. But if you do commit to a 4.0, you can't help but want I definitely want him to play. If you look at someone like Bayer at Burnley, it'd be interesting to see what Jack says. But you kind of want him to say, is he definitely going to play every week? Same with Issa Kabore at Luton. Looks like he probably will. The one benefit that Baldock's got over those two is he's got a game week 2 fixture, which could be quite handy, actually, in comparison to those two. So you're confident that probably at least for the good few starting games, but it could be something as an issue maybe down the line.
Maybe, but I'm very confident that Baldock's going to start majority.
You're bullish about it.
Very bullish about it. And he's been good. He's been good.
Are you absolutely sure, Tommo, you just don't want to miss the 4.0 defender this time?
Yes.
On that, Reece Davis also 4.0. Not a starter in your eyes, just to clarify?
If he was fit, I think he plays left wing back. But again, I think he got another injury and he was close to going back and he's got another knock and now he's not played either this season. So looks like he's going to be done. The other one that could be interesting is Trusty coming from Arsenal. I believe he's also 4.0.
He's 4.0, yeah.
So I think he looks like he's going to sign any day now. So I think that's pretty locked in from what
Alston Trusty.
Yep.
Great name. I'd never heard of him until he went on tour with Arsenal, and he was mucking about in this skills thing that they were having out in America, and I think he might have even won the competition or something. So, who would he replace? Is he left-sided centre back? What is he?
Yeah, left-sided centre back, left-sided centre back. So it's Robinson. He'll be competing with Robinson. I think Robinson's going to start, but I think long-term Trusty, and I believe he's American actually.
Yes, Trusty. He is. Yeah.
Yep. And from what I heard, he won Birmingham's Player of the Season last season.
Okay.
On loan. So I think he's a long-term player, so I expect Robinson to start. To work his way into the team.
Okay. It's another one potentially to add to the mix at 4.0. There's a number that might develop actually. And he's another one. But I think, it's Baldock out of those 3 if Trusty does sign. I take it it's Max Lowe left wing back then currently.
Yes. I think he'll start. Don't think he's good enough for the Premiership. I think he's a good Championship player again, not good enough for the Premiership. So we got Laroussian as well. Young guy. Don't know much about him. Seen him a couple of times in pre-season.
He's playing in Ligue 2, the French second division next year. Last year,
so he could compete. I wouldn't touch that part. The one that I would go for if he wasn't for price would be NL. I just still think he's going to be, he's going to score a few. And even in preseason, again, he's getting into great positions. He's still attacking. It's, he's a threat, set pieces. So if he was the same price as Baldock, I would be in NL, but.
It's really interesting when I reflect on the pod we did when you got promotion, and we spoke about him a lot, and we were saying if he's in, he might be 5. If he's in at 4.5, it'd be really interesting. Completely forgetting how FPL just absolutely underpriced everybody. Baldock's price and the other 4.5s in the game mean that unfortunately we can't consider him, can we?
No, probably not. Yeah, I just can't see it, especially, Baldock's right wing back as well. And but Baldock gets in great conditions. His final ball's not the best. His finishing is not great. So, and now
Goal at Derby, well, though. Ended up in a strange position, didn't he?
Yeah, kind of that. Said that a lot when Wilder came up with him and Stevens would end up on the opposite side sometimes. So, but Baldock's going to frustrate you a little bit because he's going to get in great positions and put a pull across in or miss a good chance. But he gets in the position. So at 4.0, what more can you ask for?
Who do you think scored more goals, Amir Hodzic or Baldock?
Amir Hodzic for sure.
Interesting, that, isn't it? So that's almost a little bit off-putting with 4.0 as well. Like Kabore at Luton could genuinely be comfortably the highest scoring defender at Luton. Whereas Amir Hodzic probably, unusually, even though he's a centre-back, probably will be yours, I should imagine.
Yeah. He's very, very talented. I suspect he's going to go to a top half Premiership club after this season if we get relegated. I think there'll be a few clubs in for him. He's definitely.
Where did you sign him for? He's Bosnian international, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't remember what the club was we signed him from, but we signed him for $3 million.
Yeah, cheap as, mate. I take it being John Egan inside, will it?
Yeah, Egan's starting every game. He's pretty much played every minute last 2 years.
We're not going to get Chris Basham right-sided underlaps, no?
Maybe for late substitutions, you might see him here and there. But, we've been trying to replace O'Connell and Basham for years, successfully replaced Basham with an L. He's been an upgrade to Basham. And then obviously O'Connell's unfortunately had to retire because of knee injuries. And we still never really placed that left centre-back. Robinson's been solid defensively. He's got a long throw, strong tackle, but he makes mistakes.
Oh, no. Long throws. Is that...
Yeah.
The Premier League's going to love you and Luton, you know that.
Oh, we're going to be throwing those long throws there, don't worry.
The thing is, I did know that because I experienced it when I went up there in the Cup. It's a shame, actually, when you think of that back three, when you came up, that back three was so good, wasn't it?
So
with O'Connell, Egan and Basham, and the underlapping from O'Connell and Basham, and then overlapping and the triangles and the wider. You were fun to watch, actually, particularly on the flanks. It was like you ignored the centre of the pitch and just dominated from side to side. You really did give teams trouble. And Ender Stevens playing on left wing. What happened to him, Ender Stevens? He's somewhere else now, isn't he? Well, obviously he's somewhere else.
He went to Stoke, Bilengo. He really dropped off. Last 2 seasons, he really dropped off. Had injuries and just lost a step and just
When we that's back five probably sounds like it picks itself at the moment, partly because of the injuries, unless Heckingbottom deemed that Trusty was going to go straight in, I guess. Probably stands at the moment, which you think is probably not likely. Okay. You also, when we spoke in May, we spoke quite a bit about Oliver Norwood. And you said that you really benefited when you took Norwood out of kind of the holding position and put Doyle there to basically give Norwood a bit more protection. I'm assuming from your squad makeup and the fact that Doyle's gone, Norwood's now going to go back to that deep line position and needs help.
Correct.
Okay, that's really concerning, mate. Because Oliver Norwood 2 years ago really struggled in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I do like him as a footballer. He's very tidy on the ball and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely worrisome. And actually, Burge has been playing in that role pre-season. Okay. Last game against Derby, he played that role. Norwood got a bad head. He had a big cut in his head in one of the pre-season games, so he missed the weekend. So, but I don't. Right now, where he sits until we get players in, he's going to play against Palace, which could be worrisome.
Yeah, there's a balancing act because that night when Ndiaye came on against my team and scored, also Sander Berge come on at the same time, and the two of them lifted the whole stadium. You could feel it, and they both looked a level above. So Berg, I would have thought he's going to have greater responsibility going forward this year. I hadn't considered what you just said, because actually him playing that deeper role probably solves the problem, but it's just
Yeah,
another problem offensively.
correct.
You almost want to clone him, don't you? Because he's a good player.
Yeah, we should call. And he really played that like lunchroom attacking right side midfield role for us very well. And when he got wide past players. He's very talented and strong, quick. Good shot on him. He can do more for sure. And like we've got to get that deep line midfield role to free up Urge on that right side, and then hopefully we get a McAtee either left or further forward, and that kind of helps solve. Those two are going to have to pick up the Ndiaye slack.
What kid says about Anis Slimani? He's going to go straight in, isn't he? I did think that when I
Yeah,
saw it. Of the signings you
yeah,
made, I did think, yeah, he's the most likely to go straight in the team.
yeah, and he was been playing the luncheon role actually preseason in Burge playing for Somalia on the right side. He looks good. We only paid $1 million for him, and you think, oh, he's $1 million, obviously, but he looks strong. He's quick. He's skillful on the ball. I know it's only preseason, not a great talent, but he looks nifty. He gets about the pitch well, and he's got aggression. I think he's walking straight into the team right now. One of the three midfield roles.
Yeah, I thought so. Do you see attacking potential in him?
He scored a great goal at the weekend in the derby. Came back to me, smash it in. I think so. I think he might be similar to that lunchroom. I have a feeling, does Norwood play Burge and Slimani side, or do we play Burge deep, Slimani on the right, maybe even Osborne on the left, just to get legs in there?
Okay, so Osborne would be the third one in that circumstance. That answers my next question. Not Fleck, no.
Fleck got an injury as well, and Fleck's legs. Yeah, he got knocked at the weekend. So he's
are you going to have a suspension game week 1, mate?
We might have a lot of kids on there, honestly. It's just like, it's and McBurney's got a knock as well, and Jefferson. I mean, there's a few. So it's looking like bare bones, which is also not great because I feel like the fixtures give us a chance to get points early doors, and we're going to have basically a bit bought team till the window closes.
What can you tell me about Koulibaly, who's 4.5? I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah, I mean, he played bits and bats last year. He was in he was a Beer Shot, which is kind of like our sister club.
Yeah.
And we brought him over. There was a lot of hype about him. He's played a few times, played against Ular in the cup, and he played bit part last season, but again, injured. Another injury.
Are you on a wind-up, mate?
No, he's not played preseason at all. Not even seen him. So it's like we're literally down to bare bones in midfield. And we might have to play Basham there. Honestly.
Don't get people excited about a 4.0 defender playing in midfield, Tommo. For God's sakes, whatever you do, mate. Right, okay. So the only place you've got available fit players offensively is this cluster of attacking forwards who are any of them going to be able to hit a barn door, Tommo?
McBurney had a really good season last season, really bounced back. First half of the season, him and Ndiaye were probably the best partnership in the league. He got injured right before international break, and then took him a little while to get back. He kind of stunned him a little bit, but McBurney was very, very good, and he was scoring. He got a good return last year. I think he got 13 last year. So,
okay. So I presume that now that Ndiaye's gone, he starts, right? Surely.
Yeah, he started anyway last season with him and Ndiaye. So McBurney, and he's fantastic in both boxes, especially defensively. He's really good in the air and defensively. So he's definitely going to be in there if he's fit, because he got a little niggle, but sounds like he's going to be okay. So we've got him. We've got Traore.
I don't want to laugh, mate, but you're making me.
You should. We had this in last season, halfway through the season. The international break, we had 13 injured players at one point. So we got Traore, who's basically mid-season from Sweden. We just signed from Sweden, so I think he's finally flown over today. I saw he got over. There was some work permit stuff, so he hasn't played. Hopefully, he'll play Saturday.
This is Benny Traore, is that right? Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
So we signed him from Häcken in Sweden.
Yeah.
He scored quite a few. So I think he's probably going to start with McBurney if
Oh,
McBurney's fit.
you
The
think
two
you
up
go
front.
straight in?
Yeah, or maybe Jefferson. Jefferson and Azula have both been playing. Or both very talented youngsters, but both can't hit a barn door. Especially Azula. Azula's a threat, though. I'll tell you, he could be one to watch. Azula, he's very strong and fast, but he's only really played one level so far. So I think the plan would be to send him out and learn, but we might not be able to right now. So I could see him coming off the bench.
Because you need
so
footballers.
Yeah, because Bruce is coming back from a long-term injury. He hasn't played yet.
Yeah.
On the pitch, but he's been out for 6 months. So you've got Traore, McBurney, Brewster, Jefferson, and Zuma out 5. So, yeah.
Okay, so if you had to hang your hat on a front two, which you normally do play in game week 1, which two?
McBurney and Traore is where I'm going right now.
Okay, not Jefferson, no? Because Jefferson's quite an exciting talent, no?
Yeah, he's exciting talent, but he hasn't really done it for us. There's been flashes there, but he's still only 19. I think he's just
exactly.
He's young. 20. He's young, but he scored that goal against Everton, and it kind of like set his expectations through the roof. Yeah. And I don't think he's played more than 2 games in a row for us. So
right, so it's not an option then.
If McBurney doesn't play, I think it'll be Jefferson and Traore.
Give us a percentage chance, in your opinion, then, of William Ashula starting.
I think it could be like even as high as like 40%, because we don't have fit players. So you've got to have players. He's played all the preseason games.
So under that basis, being very, very serious, that's got to put him at this moment in time amongst the best candidates as a 4.5 forward.
Yeah.
Because at the moment we're looking around, it doesn't, Balogun might move somewhere and it becomes really obvious, which for the state of the game, I really hope doesn't happen. But there isn't, someone like Archer, you think, oh, that's got potential and stuff. But again, we know Watkins is in his way, right? You're saying there's a chance there that his actual minutes that will get popularity if he's the one that is a 4.5 million forward when so many people want to go a 5 in midfield.
Yeah.
You're right, Tommo.
Yeah, all right,
For the benefit of the audio listeners, I can tell Tommo saying no to someone. That your lovely other half, is it?
Yeah, we just moved, so we're just in the middle of doing a bunch of stuff. But yeah, 100%. I honestly think he's got a chance because Brewster they're going to bring back slowly. He hasn't played for 6 months. But Burnley's got an eagle. Traore's just come into the country. And Azula's been the choice over Jefferson in preseason. So I think there's a chance that Azula could start.
So I mean, just for clarity, for the benefit of the listeners and the viewers, which 3 Sheffield United players are you going to start on your bench in game week 1, Tommo?
Baldock, for sure. McAtee if he gets there, for sure. But probably Midfield. But no, I think Azula might be a good shout.
It's viable. I mean, look, you wouldn't, presumably you probably wouldn't end up in the position of having 3 Sheffield United substitutes. It's probably not going to make anyone feel easy about their lives. And I guess if McAtee comes in, that would be the best one between him and Ashula quite clearly. But quite often it just falls in between, are you going 3 up front or are you going 5 in midfield, right? So
exactly.
Someone like McAtee coming into you arguably makes going with a front 3 more enticing if you was to go down that sort of route. I think Doyle less so from what we've learned and what you said. You might as well just go into Canberra. It doesn't particularly matter. Ashula is probably the name I've not seen anyone mention, but probably comes onto radar, mate, just on the basis of this potential minutes there. But he's going to go alone, isn't he?
Probably. Probably by end of the window, it might go on loan, but
why did you? I'm looking through your timeline here, Tommo. Why did you tweet the other day Ashula or Jefferson to start? You put a graphic out, and McBurney's not in it. Did you think at the time he was injured or something?
Yeah, he was injured, but Eckenbaum in an interview yesterday saying it wasn't as bad as they expected.
Okay, so that explains that. Fine.
Yeah. I think we'll see at the weekend, James. Honestly, we're playing Saturday against Stuttgart, so I think whoever starts up front, that's going to give us a good sign
on the answer. So
I think Traore is going to play with one other, Jefferson, McBurney, or Asula.
I think if Asula was in the team at the weekend, you'd have to consider starting him in FPL if you're going two up front, because he would then be the most likely starting 4.5 forward. The only other one I could begin to consider, Tommo, would be Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm not paying 5.5. I don't think.
No.
You couldn't justify, even I know it's like someone like João Pedro would be a gamble at the moment, but I think I'd rather take that gamble. That's how it feels. Is that fair?
Oh yeah, that's more than fair. Yeah, you don't go there. I think you take a punt, Asula, because you're not really going to have three Sheffield United players. If you go for an Archer, you might want three Villa players. Balogun, depending where he goes, I don't know where he's going to go, but I think with Asula, you're not really blocking yourself, right? So I think it's a good flyer, rather.
Are you likely, therefore, at the moment to go Baldock and Asula, do you think?
Yes, I think so.
With Baldock, how comfortable are you starting him?
I'm starting game week 1.
Are you going on the old Sud strategy of kind of 10 good players and one budget one, and I'll pick between them from week to week? Because if you're playing him in game week 1, I just wonder what's your strategy then for game week 3? Who are you benching in game week 1? Are you going down the route of benching someone like Chilwell, for example?
Or Stone right now on the bench and starting Baldock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd ever bench a Manchester City player unless I was absolutely confident they weren't going to play, mate. You do know John Stones likes to play centre forward just randomly in build up, right?
Yeah. Right now, that's kind of where I'm at. And basically, the 1 week pump for Baldock. I might not start him. So I'm going to start in week 1. I think there's a chance to keep a clean sheet because defensively we're very good. We're very good defensively. I've seen a lot of Palace fans tell we're going to be in 1-0.
Listen, no, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. As much as everything might feel a bit doom and gloom at this moment, partly because the injuries, I didn't realize how bad that situation was, on top of Ndiaye going, takeover situation not happening, etc. Every single person listening or viewing this can envisage you beating Crystal Palace 1-0. Absolutely can envisage that. So I wouldn't be that surprised at all, mate. And therefore, that's also my thinking at the moment, is that, yeah, I don't mind having Baldock sitting there as my first substitute in game 1. I don't mind even game week 2. I don't mind game week 4 either. And the other interesting layer, I think, on Sheffield United is, obviously you've got City in game week 3, which is, you're not comfortable starting Baldock, right? And nobody's going to be, for most teams, aren't going to be comfortable starting a defensive player against City. The other 3 fixtures, it's perfectly reasonable. And one of the really interesting things with you, we discussed this when we looked at fixtures, was you don't have a great run at any point. At any point for me to go, oh, I can see that bit there. Yeah, those are 5 good fixtures. I'll go for Sheffield United there. It doesn't exist basically until near the end of the season. So after game week 4, you've got Tottenham away, Newcastle at home, West Ham away, Fulham away, Man United at home, Arsenal away. Rough.
Yeah.
That start's got to be good.
Yeah.
From those, there's pressure on those 3 good fixtures at the start.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because the season we went down, we didn't pick up a victory quick enough.
Yeah.
And then you just spiral,
and it became a panic. It was a panic, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I was watching with Mark and you on the Forest one, and they've got a tough start, right? And they don't win their home games. And there's that Forest game, there was a lot of between us and Forest. We're gonna be really up for that. I don't remember when they beat us in the playoffs.
The playoff semi-final, of course.
Yeah. And then one of their fans headbutted Billy Sharp after the final whistle, and then
Brian McBurney kicked one back.
Yeah, kicked one back. And so there's a lot of bad blood between us and Forest, so that's going to be a tough game. And it's like in Bramall Lane, under the full crowd, especially night games. We're going to be well up for it. We're going to battle. We're going to be in for it. So we're going to be throwing long throws in the box, and we've got some big lads in there now. McBurney, Burge, Egan, Anel, all 6 foot plus. We're going to be a hassle. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Burnley game last season at home. we're being 5-2. Second half, we just bullied them. And if we can get a few players in, I think, we've got to get them in quick and embedded. That's the thing, right? If Ndiaye was still here, I'd be bullish that they're staying up. But now it's just too much unknown.
With that in mind, then, where do you think you finish?
So I thought we were going to finish around that 15, 16 spot. I just think now we're going to be bottom 2, 19, 20. Wow. Yeah.
I think it's very honest of you, mate. I also think at the moment it's realistic to think that it's worth saying always, and this is the caveat, and this also goes for Luton as well, that you might do quite a bit of business in terms of cheap signings or loan signings who could really make the difference towards the end of the window. My real concern with you is, and it's interesting the point Dan Ashby made on the Luton pod when we was talking about like their goalkeeper situation is a real problem at the moment. He basically said, look, Brighton away, then they don't play, then Chelsea away. If it takes 3 weeks to get it sorted, fine. We're not expecting anything in those first 2 away games anyway. Whereas you can't afford that. When we've just looked at those fixtures there, you've got to do well over those first 4. And you probably will beat Palace in game week 1, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I'm happy with playing City in game week 3. That's a good fixture for me now, I think. Get that out of the way.
Yeah, I would preferably like to play Manchester City in game week 1 and game week 2. And then not worry about it for 12 months. That I'd sign me up for that. I'd take that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, for us this season, honestly, it's just getting up, clearing the debts, not doing what we did last time. And what really got us in trouble was the Brewster and Burge delayed payments. So we had to pay those $3-4 million payments last season. And to be fair to the Prince, we kept all our best players. I was in the Championship for 2 seasons. We had Burge, big money. Brewster, Bernard, we paid $20 for. They stayed the whole time. And we could have sold both of them in January for good money. But Ndie's got us up. So we've got parachute payments reset, money we got this season. Takeover looks like it's going to happen. Well, I would say that. It's been 5 or 6 weeks for over nearly a year now. So, get the takeover happening.
I can't recall a season where, for a long time, where 2 teams came up and everyone talks about, particularly when around the playoff final and stuff, that everyone, the 100 million kind of generator for getting promotion and stuff. I can't remember 2 teams coming up together and feeling they were both so handicapped financially. Yours because of debt and potential takeover, and Luton are obviously so cautious of their backstory where they dropped into National League and nearly went out of business and trying to build a stadium and small resources, etc. Right? I can't recall that, and that's why most people are going to predict you both to go down. It's another reason why everybody seems so convinced that Burnley will stay up, I think.
And I'm not that convinced. I actually had Burnley in my bottom 3.
Ooh, do you think all 3 will go back down?
So when I did my predictions, we had Ndiaye and I had us and Luton both staying up.
Luton staying up as well. So you give them a good shot.
We played Luton. I talked to Dan about this. We played Luton twice last year. They were the most difficult team we played. Both games. We drew 1-1 at their place and they beat us 1-0 at our place and they just smothered us. They're very difficult to play against. And I think they're going to have a chance. The thing is, we're going to be up for it, both of us.
Of course you are. And you've also both got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose. You're both being written off. I also think it's understandable why that's happening, even more so now in your case with Ndiaye going at the moment. You don't have McAtee and Doyle from last year. So the team looks weaker than the team, and you shouldn't be in a position where you get promoted and the team looks weaker when it's promoted afterwards. And that's the problem. That situation might change. Interestingly, Dan told me about this chat that you had, because I've obviously already recorded with him. And he said, Tommo told me he thinks we'll stay up. And I said, what did you say you think he'll do? And he said, I'll put them to finish bottom.
Yeah, he told me. So, which is fair. I mean, I get it, right? But it's just, and you talk about financially, we had a conversation with City about Doyle and signing permanently. We can't afford his wages. So like that saying, he's a under 21 squad player, not even a squad player for City. We can't afford his wages.
And the reality is, for both of your clubs, bringing Luton back into the conversation, it's almost like it feels at the moment the off the pitch is more important than on the pitch. Like, it's more important you sort
Absolutely.
this shit out and come back when
Yeah.
you're in a position to really be competitive and do it
Yeah.
again. And for Luton, it's not about going mad and spending under a million and getting relegated and knowing they've got no chance in that case of ever coming back,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So 80% of the correspondents think you'll go down, which I think's about
That's
what.
it. I thought it would be higher than that.
No, it's
I
not.
thought
I mean,
I'll be the only one.
I'm including you in the 20%, it
Okay.
should be said, who
Okay.
predicted you outside. But yeah, that's it. I suppose if you're now saying yes, then it's up to 85%. But yeah, two people put you to finish 17th, and one didn't list you in the bottom four, and that's not you, that's someone else. I don't know who that was. I didn't check through it, to be totally honest. So no, not everyone.
Yeah.
So I wish you the very, very best of luck, though, mate, particularly with that start, because it'd be important to you, mate. Anything you want to plug before you go, mate?
Nope. Just glad to be back, and I'll be on Twitter and around if anyone has any questions about anything. I think I'll post as we go along the window. There might be some sneaky little 4.5 million that come up before the end of the window.
You've already given us a couple, in fairness, as much as we battered it.
Yeah.
There are some options there.
Yeah, and people we're targeting are very unknown, so I don't know majority of them that we've been linked with, so I can't see them coming in past the minimum in each of the.
Oh, if they come in fit, they go straight in the team, don't they? By the sounds of it.
Pretty much.
Good luck, mate. FPL_Blade on Twitter. I've scheduled you with Sean, haven't I, for Clash of the Correspondents? I think prior to game week 4. If we have a bad start and he has a bad start, we'll have to bring some beers for that one. Look forward to that, mate. Brilliant stuff. Yeah. Thanks so much, mate. Good luck this season. Up next on Correspondent Week, we've gone from one end of the table, we're going to the other. Newcastle United have high hopes back in the Champions League and will certainly be looking to finish in the top 4 again. Newcastle United with Simon Bibby is up next. Just to say thanks so much, Tommo. Cue music, please, man child.